So I think what I'm eating today might be approved, at least in heart.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm just going to do the countdown. God damn it. No one ever tells me what they're going to do, and then they show up.
Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, that Pinguino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens, and it is time to get Chrono Crossed once again. Time to continue playing Chrono Cross, the sequel to Chrono Trigger, the game that is very similar to Chrono Trigger in many ways because it's the sequel. Why would it be different? And as always, on these bad JRPG and sometimes good JRPG adventures, I am joined by Chris ZombiePie Redacted.
No, my name's not Chris ZombiePie Redacted. I'm actually Gino that Pinguino from the other world. Meh. I've got really hardcore stances about people's opinions about food, especially when it comes to spaghetti sauce and pizza. Meh. Ask me about how Luka Doncic's going to be the greatest Dallas Maverick. He's going to replace Dirk. Meh.
I stand by all those stances. These are all viable. Yep, those are all correct stances. In fact,
He's not better than Dirk.
not yet. He's been in the league 2 years. He's already a borderline MVP candidate. We'll see. And we are also joined by Jeff Rud. Hello.
Hi. That's what I do. Yeah, here on the podcast where apparently Gino thinks Final Fantasy V is a bad game.
What?
According to your intro, where we talked about bad games. So,
Sometimes good games.
yeah.
I said sometimes good ones.
Yeah, you caught
What's the
yourself.
spirit of choice this time, Jeff?
Keeping it easy. Just moved into this place. Been working a lot, hauling shit across the great city of Tacoma. I hold in my hand a Red Hook ESB, an extra special bitter. It's okay. It's pretty bog standard.
I thought that was going to stand for an extra special boy.
Yeah, I mean, an extra special bitter for an extra special boy. I have to say, I'm not going to drag this out. Today was my last day living in an apartment in the north side of Tacoma. We have spent an exhaustive amount of time moving into a house that we bought south of there. We went back today to do the last few things, which was like clean the kitchen and get our giant cat tree. We've put in a lot of time scrubbing that place down. We get there this morning. I start disassembling this cat tree. My spouse is like, something smells really bad in here. Preface, this place has had some, let's generously call it plumbing problems already. Right. So, open the bathroom. The tub is about half full of backed up sewer. The toilet has completely overflowed with backed up sewer, and it has gurgled up into the sink as well. There is leftover sewer bilge on the floor. We close the door, and we just finish getting the fuck out of there as quick as we can, and we tell the landlords, and we're done. So I looked at a lot of other people's poop today, I think, and I didn't like it.
And now, speaking of looking at other people's poop and not liking it, Chrono Cross.
Wait, I've got a bit too.
Yeah.
Jeff talked about all of the wonderful food and beverages he has enjoyed.
What?
It's time for my bit, Gino, where it's ZP's food review.
People don't tell me. I can't emphasize this enough, people listening to this. Neither one of these people told me that this was happening. I was here to talk about Chrono Cross, a JRPG beloved by all.
I tried to, so as we talked about in a prior podcast, I had a little bit of a health scare in earlier summer in which my doctor said, yo, down there is kind of messed up. You got to take your diet and stuff. And they found out that, you know, the Taco Bell diet, which is mostly Cheese Whiz and ground beef and taco shells, might not actually be good for me. And they said the big thing that I really need to look for is fiber. So I decided to do some sleuthing on the internet. What are the big things that can provide fiber for me? And it turns out that dried fruit has a lot of fiber. Now, you got to be careful because it's also got a lot of sugar. So I've got two types of dried fruit that were recommended to me from different members of my family who are maybe partakers of dried fruit. I've got some prunes.
Hell yeah.
And I've got some dried apricots. And I think I know the difference between the two because they've been sitting here for a while.
I mean, I hope that your dried apricots look different than your dried prunes.
So the ones that are, I think, slightly smaller and orangey are the apricots, and the ones that look like black holes of death, like a dried up sea anemone, might be the prunes.
You've never had either a dried prune or
No, I mean, as a kid growing up, my dad would eat prunes because he had issues with his tummy that fiber was the solution for, and I always looked at them and thought that they looked weird.
They do. All right, let's see how you like these, because I like both of these things.
Prune first, because I was told that I would probably like these more.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think so. I'm betting prune.
I'm an apricot guy, so...
I think prunes are a much more common flavor. They're sweeter. Apricots are more bitter.
We have a pluout tree outside we discovered, which is a prune apricot. Not a prune, the little fucking...
Kumquat?
No. God damn it. Plum.
Okay.
A plum apricot hybrid tree.
Okay. So the taste of that was okay. Actually, I would say the taste of that was good. The texture for that was pretty atrocious.
It's called
Like
fiber.
it's like I ate a weird, like, partially melted gummy bear.
Yep.
And it's still sticking to my teeth, and it kind of messing me up. But the flavor is good. So 3 is average. That's above average. I would maybe give this a light 4 out of 5.
Okay, now let's see apricot.
Okay.
Or apricot.
Oh, it's so fuzzy. Oh. Oh.
He doesn't need to make these sounds. This dramatization.
This
of
is how
eating
he eats
apricot.
Taco Bell as well. So.
Just muttering to himself. Oh.
That's a texture. Beefy.
This is not becoming an ASMR podcast. How is the apricot?
So I agree with Jeff's assessment in terms of the comparison of the flavors. So here's the thing. I wish I had the firmness of the apricot with the flavor of the prune. Because I actually liked the firmness of the apricot. I thought the texture of the apricot was good. The thing that's really messing me up is the fuzz of the dried apricot. Like the fact that you're eating – it's like you're eating a dust ball that tastes like grandma's pudding. I think I actually like the prune more. But I wish that prunes were as firm as the dried apricots. Yeah, that fuzzy factor with the apricots just messed me up. So I gave prunes a 4. I'm going to give apricots a mid-3. I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay. There you go. Definitive. DP, just a quick question here. Follow-up. Have you ever had a dried mango?
No.
You should try that. That's a good dried fruit.
Tried dried pineapple. Or it's called crystallized pineapple.
Dried pineapple, also good.
Yeah.
That's more sugary. Like dried mango, there's a little more chew to it. I bet it's probably better with fiber.
So let's talk about the onlyfans.com/deeplistens. That's the place where you're going to send your money to donate to help the podcast go.
Nope.
We got everything that you would want on our onlyfans.com/deeplistens.
If you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so at Deep Listens Pod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have comment sections there, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can send in an email. You can also support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. We're not on OnlyFans, but we could be swayed to be. Not above it. But we did have a comment.
This is the comment that you kept saying that we were going to answer on this podcast, but...
No. We had someone posted on YouTube.
Didn't we have a Final Fantasy comment?
I didn't see a Final Fantasy. I'll check.
I seem to recall there was a YouTube comment that this cadre of podcast hosts needed to answer and not the main podcast.
So there was a Grim Fandango. No, I'll save that one for the main show.
I also, because now I want to just correct the record as Gino finds this, I feel like the Deep Listens podcast misrepresented me in the last podcast. Not improperly, but I feel like you mischaracterized why Billy returned and what precipitated Billy's return.
Oh, no.
So,
Fine, go ahead. But we do not have anything to cover.
to clarify, what happened was I saw Billy online in Discord, and I pinged him jokingly, mockingly, saying, hey, about a year ago I met one of the writers or like assistant writers, people who worked on the Talos Principle. I told them what you think of the game, and I slowly saw the life of them and their soul escape their body. I asked them point blank, if I could communicate to them one message from you to them, what do you want me to say to Billy, this wonderful person, Billy? And his exact words were, tell him he's wrong. Now, the part of the story that I think that Gino did not properly communicate is that I said this to Billy on Discord, and what Billy proceeded to do was mansplain me in the most Billy way possible.
Look, we'll give Billy the chance to defend his own position at some
here's
point
my
down
idea.
the line.
If
Who's
you
to
do
say
this,
when?
Let me invite someone from the Talos. Let me send an email. See if I can find this person, and then you can start the podcast, and then I invade with this person joining the podcast as well.
Yeah, and thankfully, no, Billy doesn't listen to this show, so it'll probably be fine. He'll be completely surprised.
It was an essay.
So,
it was a 4-paragraph essay explaining like how
it was a lot.
author's intent could be disregarded, which is the most disgusting thing I think I've ever seen. But I love Billy. I love Billy. Billy, you're a wonderful
I'm going to go out on a limb and say you've seen more disgusting things.
Okay, this is the last thing I would say. By that standard, I could say that the works of Ayn Rand are just fun science fiction fantasy books and not libertarian propaganda, and she's a racist scumbag.
It's fair.
Chrono Cross!
No, wait, before Chrono Cross even. Normally I don't do my obsession of the week on these, but I'm going to do it this time because I saw a movie and I want to talk about it for a minute. Have y'all seen Booksmart? No?
No.
ZP, have you seen Booksmart?
I don't watch a lot of film. Like I've not seen most movies.
This is the movie that Megan Allison produced, I think, right? And then, yeah, Olivia Wilde.
Wilde
Yeah, I have
directed.
seen this movie. It's a good movie.
It's really good. So I was at my obsession, Booksmart. I watched it a couple days ago. I'm probably going to watch it again tonight. So I would describe it as Superbad, but with female leads. I think it holds up better. Like, it's more modern in a lot of ways. And I think the thesis of the movie is a more uplifting message than the original Superbads. It has some of the same absurdist comedy and same, like, coming of age, last party sort of plot line as Superbad did. But I think that the characters are more endearing and the overall plot holds up better. And weird little fun fact, Jonah Hill's sister actually plays the kind of Jonah Hill character in Booksmart. So it's a weird little bit of crossover. So yeah, check that movie out. It's on Hulu right now. You can watch it. It's been on Hulu for over a year. It's really good. It's very funny.
Olivia Wilde also did a recent Broadway version of 1984, and she played Julia, and she was quite good.
I believe it. She's very talented. All right, now without further ado, it's time to get into Chrono Cross. When we last left Surge and his crew, they were getting messed up.
We did not even finish all of what we were supposed to do last podcast, so let's just clarify. So you enter Viper Mansion. You are going to Viper Mansion to, correct me if I'm wrong, confront General Viper?
Yes, confront General Viper, and apparently the man behind the man, Lynx, this demi-human,
yes,
this furry, who is searching for the frozen flame.
Do we even know that at this point, or is it just find Viper and Lynx because they're the people in charge and they sent someone to try and kill you? And then also,
that's your motivation.
The only person helping you is Kid, and Kid's got a weird vendetta against Lynx that she's not cluing you into at this point.
Yeah.
Yes, but once you get to Viper Mansion, you're told about the frozen flame and that it can grant wishes, and Lynx shows up, and you have to fight him, and you don't fight General Viper, you fight Lynx.
Fight the little girl, what's her name? Marcy. And then after you fight Lynx and you beat him, he throws a dagger, and it hits Kid, and she gets poisoned. Well, she doesn't get poisoned immediately. She's able to take you and help you take you to the weird tropical town.
Termina.
And then she starts to get poisoned. So here's one of the biggest problems, and I think this is something we've all echoed in Discord, is that the story is not properly paced, and there's almost too much story in the small amounts of bursts in which they're presented. Because I love the visuals of the story, like when you first interact with the Time Lord, and he starts kind of breaking down the mythology and, you know, the pathos and logos of this game. And then you get jack shit for like an hour or two. It's so easy. I think that basically when I started playing this game to try and rescue Kid, like I had forgotten almost all the shit that he said, all the proper nouns that he said, even though that they're going to crop up maybe 3 hours down the line, and they're going to expect me to know what that means.
Yeah, I would say that one of this game's greatest flaws is pacing. There are definitely bursts of story, tons of proper nouns, tons of cutscenes. Like, there's only a few cutscenes in this game, but they all show up like one after another in certain sequences. And outside of those moments, you're basically going place to place, only concerned with whatever is going on at the immediate moment, because the game is centered around a silent protagonist surrounded by interchangeable player characters that you can have any combination of them depending on what playthrough you're on, when you're playing, who you decided to get, who you wanted to use. So you can't have character development between these characters, really, because you don't know, like, the writers didn't know who the hell was going to be in your party at any given time. So every character is only about one funny catchphrase deep in terms of the differences between them, and that just leads to a lot of moments where the only things that are allowed to have personality and advance the plot are the NPCs, because they're the only things that are static.
And to add insult to injury, when you do attempt to match characters to environment, you get maybe at most a couple sentences of flavor text, and we're going to talk about it later because I want to talk about that fucking fairy and taking her to her fairy wonderland. The game even mechanically punishes you for matching certain characters to environments during story sequences. But that said, I think it's around this point when I realized that I like the weirdness of the story, but everything in between is such a drag that I actually have gotten to the point where I dread playing this game.
That's fair.
I think that this version of the ATB system, as Jeff pointed out, it's over animated to the point to where it's constantly a slog. I find navigating the environments a nightmare because they're so busy and dense. And I said this when I started streaming the game, like the little things that you have to do to navigate from one environment to the next, and then also when you have to start swapping between worlds, like having to watch that same CG cutscene when you swap from one world to the next sucks. It sucks every single time. It's only like 20 to 30 seconds long, but you have to watch it every single time, and it adds up.
You can click through it.
You're allowed to skip it.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Bro, just click through it. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, Jeff, what did you feel about the pacing of the story and the game?
It's a weirdly dense game for how little it has to say during the first, like, let's say third. My weird frame of reference for all this kind of shifted because to reference things outside of this podcast that aren't related to poop or beer or food, Retronauts and Hardcore Gaming 101 both dropped podcasts about Chrono Cross within the last, 2 weeks.
So what you're saying is we're timely.
We're very timely. So I was gently reminded of what Chrono Cross is, actually about for the first time in, many, many years. Knowing that now, which I'd completely forgotten and been trying to kind of avoid knowing, thinking about what has actually happened in the first up to where we've gotten in this game is why are we lingering here? What's happening? It just seems totally inconsequential, which has kind of led to me, I think my take on it is more it's a weird choose your own adventure random JRPG trope machine where things just happen for no particular reason and I'm just kind of letting it wash over me. Much like the last season of Game of Thrones, where you're going, it basically doesn't matter what's happened up to this point because they just grab the steering wheel at a certain point and just go, nope, we're going over here. So
I'll just maybe prime the pump. When we get to that point, I want to make it perfectly clear that is the point when I feel like this game shows that it completely disrespects your time If that was the whole point of this game, then goddamn, why did I have to do this? I've invested all of this time in these characters and everything. This is the worst. I actively dislike this game as a result of that.
DP, do you know where this is going?
Yes, I got to the point that you asked me to stop, and I've turned on this game hard.
No,
but you don't.
It gets deep. It gets weirder.
No. You don't know how weird.
Yeah.
Jeff is referencing a level of weirdness you are not even perceiving yet. You're merely skimming the surface. You haven't even gone down in frog fractions yet.
Yeah.
You haven't even gone below the water
Fine.
yet.
I'm willing to accept that, but I still believe that this game does not respect your time.
Oh, that's probably...
I think that's fair to say. Like, this is like getting 5 steps ahead, and like I do want to actually talk about what we've actually played, but it's worth noting that the ethos of this game is you're going to go back and replay it anyway in a New Game Plus thing to actually get everything, because everyone wants to get all the dudes or whatever, because Pokemon.
Sure. And then also the fact that without doing that, you're only accessing maybe one of 2 endings, and the rest of the endings are only accessible if you do New Game Plus, which I'm just going to put it out there. My general assessment is that's game design malfeasance. Like, what the fuck?
It's what people wanted at the time. Like, they made this game for an audience. But what I was going to say was, those New Game Plus playthroughs have a fast-forward feature baked into them. So, yeah, what we're doing right now, up to, like, the thing that we're going to get to at the end of this episode, is, like, utterly inconsequential, and they kind of know that. So they just let you fucking fly through it the next time you go through and play it. So anyway, yeah, like, I don't know. It's got pacing problems, and it's kind of weird and lumpy, and also nothing we're doing kind of matters right now. We're about to get to the first thing that actually kind of matters, which is you deposit Kid in this town.
Yes.
And basically the game gives you, and it's like a soft choice. It's not
God damn it.
Spelled out.
Fuck this.
Kid as a character is like fatally poisoned and is going to die unless you intervene. You can just be like, nah, and not.
When she is poisoned, a doctor tells you, hey, there's only one cure to this poison. It's a Hydra.
It would have been a Hydra. It's worth noting.
It's a Hydra. I forget what the term is. Hydra humor?
Hydra humor. I think? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Hydra humor, but Hydras are extinct. They've all been hunted to extinction. There's nothing we can do. And you can basically say, no, we're going to find a way. Or you can be like, oh, there's nothing we can do. I guess we'll have to find some other, we have to move on with our lives. And if you choose, there's 2 choices, right? You can go try to do whatever you can to save Kid, or you can try to move on with your life. Who picked try to save Kid?
That was me.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, I said, fuck it.
Good idea.
Let her die.
So, okay, so here's the deal, and Jeff and I can talk about it. The mission to save Kid sucks.
Navigating in this area is like the first point where I actually was like,
the Hydra Forest is such a bad environment. The missions that require you to toggle back and forth from the other world to the regular world are such a fucking pain in the ass. And the number of times that you have to go from Termina to the Hydra Forest, back to Termina, back to the Boogaloo place, and then back to Termina. It's just like the number of times that they could have cut like maybe 4 or 5 steps to just simplify the mission. It's ridiculous. The mission design in this game is so Byzantine that it's just not fun. So
Termina, if you go to rescue Kid, Korcha, the kid who kind of owns a little ship and he's radical, he will join your party and you get Kid's bracelet. Or is it a bracelet or a necklace?
One of those.
I think it's a bracelet.
I'm sure.
Which is this the point that we want to talk about? If you equip stuff on characters that are technically temporary, that you lose that equipment permanently? Because I want to talk about that, because that happened to me multiple times.
What do you mean?
So there was when the equipment that's on Kid, you lose that until Kid comes back. And then Korcha will leave the party, and then if you put stuff on Korcha, that equipment will also disappear.
Yeah, but they join your party permanently. There's no characters in this game, or very few characters in this game, who join your party and then leave permanently.
But still, it highlights the fact that I took the time to equip these characters, figure out their slots, and now I have to find someone to replace them, re-equip them, get them their stuff, figure out how... Like, I just don't enjoy needing to go through the color-based magic system for every single character. And
Yeah, that's the equipment. I'm kind of like whatever. It's more the
spells.
The spells.
Yeah,
The
filling out
elements.
all
The
the
elements.
spell slots.
Which there's mercifully an option which I just abused the shit out of because I at a certain point realized this game will just let you beat it anyway. Where you can just unequip everything from everyone and then re-equip to your party based on this is probably a good arrangement. I don't know. So I just use
Really?
those macros like every 10
I
minutes.
found that those macros were still efficient enough to where I would rather just manually program them, but at the same time, with every single time I need to swap a character out, I'm losing at least 5 to 7 minutes of my time.
Yeah,
The loss of time. My time is very precious to me.
Yes,
just assume
I
let
would
the
say
game
that you've maybe done the
do it.
correct choice, but at the same time, the menu system in this game is awful. I hate it. I don't understand why temporary one-use items are a part of the magic system, because the items in this game are technically the story items.
yeah.
Do
that's
not
why.
get me started about the times you need to pause the game to bring up the item menus, select the correct item in the environment or next to the NPC, and then hope that it moves forward the plot. Because
there's some
Jesus fucking Christ.
use the left-handed hammer on the environment sort of fun that this game gets you to.
Yeah, and I would say that I wish that this game had the equivalent of FF8's Junction Exchange. Just like swap all the stuff. I'm swapping the characters. Please let me just swap all their equipment too. I know that it's actually not that trivial because each character has a different element grid that you can use. Since they can't necessarily have the exact same equipment, it would not be trivial to program it. But like the act of unequipping, changing characters, re-equipping, I agree. It's really annoying and it's banal. It's not interesting. It's not like you're making interesting choices.
One of the main appeals of this game is getting new characters up to like whatever amount of characters. The fact that if you want to try out new characters in combat, you got to do this every single time. And, of course, I think we're all using guides for this game. So when I pick up Neofeo, it's like, this is a shit character. I'm not going to invest in this character. So fine, you're to the corner. Just go to your place. Just stay there. Fuck off. But if I wanted to learn this organically, I would have to actually plug in all the slots, see how you play. You're garbage. Okay, go back to the bad place. You're going to go to the corner, and then I'm going to ignore you for the rest of the game. Banal, whatever.
Banal.
But it is not something that I look forward to. It's not something I look forward to at all.
Yeah, and it's led to me basically having a set roster that I have been using because it's not worth toggling.
Yeah, I'm just rolling Kid, Lena, Surge. That's it. It's not like there's any real mechanical advantage to doing it. It's just saving time.
Yeah, you've got the love triangle party. So depending on the different paths you choose, you can end up with different characters. So the big appeal of not saving Kid is you get Glenn, a.k.a. Frog. He's not actually Frog, but he's named after Frog, and he has similar moves to Frog from original Chrono Trigger. So,
but what is especially heinous is that Kid does not actually die.
Yes.
Can we talk about this? Because I was so salty when I found this out.
So yeah, it turns out that if you don't save Kid, someone just shows up and gives the Hydra humor to Doc in Termina, and he saves her anyway. And they don't say who did it.
That
who
is
did it?
the worst.
A wizard did it. Yes.
I hate it so I went through if I had to know. Obviously, it's like I've gone through this long quest to pick up the Hydra humor. There's even a boss fight. You have to fight the dwarves. They're awful. You have to go through this terrible environment, and like the pathfinding's not great. And so I had to look up. So what is and then I checked the guide. It's like, yeah, just come back, and then someone gives the Hydra humor, and it's like, God damn it! And you get a better character. Glenn is very good. What is especially heinous is like if the consequence of saving Kid was that you lose Kid, like they have this.
Yeah, you wish that there was a consequence. It turns out the story will go on regardless. The trade-off is you get Korcha's sister.
Yeah.
No, she's got a crush on Korcha, so they're not incest shit.
Oh, I thought it was Korcha's sister. Okay.
No, she's got the hots for Korcha.
The other the other little kid who's in Korch's village.
And if you do a fight in the Hydra Forest fast enough, you can pick up the ferry.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a ferry you can pick up. If you do not save kid, you get Matcha, Korch's mom, who's just like, Korcha, you got to help these people even though they're going to let this girl die. And she joins your party. Glenn, the knight, and you also get Doc, the doctor, because apparently he can't abide the fact that he wasn't able to save someone without Deus Ex Machina intervening. So he's like, I'm going to be a better doctor by traveling the world with you guys. Tubular, because he's also a surfer man. So if you do the kid path, you have to go back to your home world. You get the ability to jump dimensions immediately, and then you have this entire side quest where you need to go to the Hydra Forest and kill the last Hydra and ruin that place. If you don't save kid, you have basically to get Glenn, and then you go to the SS Invincible, and you meet a pirate. And the pirate attacks you. There's a ghost ship.
We still went to SS Invincible on our playthrough, Gino.
Oh, I know. We just go straight to it.
What? So you didn't even do a mission?
No, you go to the secret hideaway.
So that's the speedrun tactic.
God damn it.
Yeah. So you just go straight to the Zelbes. You get all that interaction there. You can get Greco. You go back to Termina. Yep. And then once you go back to Termina, Kid's just okay. She's just healthy.
Damn it.
And she joins your party.
I guess it's something that I want to I guess this is the opportunity to talk about it. Glenn plus Surge is your first opportunity to do a combined special maneuver, or one of the early examples of a useful combined special maneuver. How was that, Gino?
It's bad. It's terrible. The combined attacks in this game, they don't deal enough more damage than just a regular attack or regular super attack, but they use up 2 of your party members' ATB meters simultaneously. So it does 1.5 times the damage, but has 2 times the lag.
Yeah. I found that I have to pick and choose which special attacks I do because, again, I think we brought it up. This game, by default, in combat, runs at about 20 to 30 hertz generously. And the minute you do some of the flashier animations, it will drop to single digits if you are not careful.
It's bonkers. This game, everyone talks about PS4 sounding like jet engines. This was the point where a PS1 was probably gasping. There was no fan in that son of a bitch, so. But
PS1 can barely run this game and can barely run FF9. Both of those games cause it to really chug.
Yeah.
And I will say that I'm playing this on modern technology that can run certain things that are well above this, and there were times where it's man, do I have 18 tabs of Chrome? Why is this running like garbage? Oh wait, it's just Chrono Cross.
Yep. So once you get Kid back, you then have to go to...
Wait, Kid's even a part of your party?
Oh yeah, she just joined your party again.
That double sucks. I was hoping that the consequence was Kid's yo, you left me to die.
No, she's very understanding. She's there was nothing you could do. But thanks for coming back to look for me. Thanks for thinking of me and coming back.
Amazing.
I still think you're cute, Surge.
God, this game, own your shit, almost is what I want to say. Own your shit. If you're going to build in these dialogue choices and these branching paths, create the paths to where they feel earned.
It will become clearer in time why they do this, I guess I'll say.
I mean, I assume that it involves multiple playthroughs and multiple universes on top of that, but...
yeah. It gets into what the game's actually about shit.
Yeah. So, Kid will rejoin your party regardless of whether you save her or whether she's saved by a Deus Ex Machina. Once she rejoins your party, if you did not save her, now you get the ability to jump between the worlds. You two have had the ability to jump between the worlds the whole time. So once I got it back, I actually went to the Hydra Forest in the home world to see what happened. I didn't kill the last Hydra. Is that forest okay? Because if you kill the last Hydra, the game's you should feel shitty. This place in another world is a toxic mess, and the only thing stopping it from being a toxic mess is this creature is alive in this world. And you're going to kill it to save your friend.
Now, admittedly, the one thing I do want to say to my defense, those dwarves suck. Fuck those dwarves.
They do, and in your place... So, I went to where the Hydra should be, and got all the items that were there. Dwarves were not there. I did not encounter dwarves at all. The next place you're supposed to go is Fort Dragonia, which is on the other side of Mount Pyre. So Mount Pyre has a bunch of lava, and it's recommended that you get the Water Dragon's Blessing so that you can freeze the lava that's present on Mount Pyre. You don't have to do this, but it makes it much easier.
Indeed. Pretty much mandatory.
Go to the Water Dragon Island?
I did. I got the ability to freeze all that lava.
Okay. On Water Dragon Island, were there dwarves for you?
You're challenging stuff that
I
happened
really
a
don't
while
remember.
ago for me.
Gino, do you know the answer? I don't know.
I think there were. I think
Yeah,
there should have been.
Yeah, they fought the big tank.
Yes, they get the big tank. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool,
'Cause
yeah.
For me, that was the first time I encountered the dwarves, and I was like, oh, shit. In this world, these dwarves got run out of here by adventurers. They got run out of the Hydro Marsh. Yeah, I like that you fight 7 of them, though.
They knew.
Yeah. These dwarves are like, they are really pissed about humanity, upsetting the balance of nature.
Whoa. Okay, then maybe there was a difference because they give us a lecture about how, we think we're learning from humanity, so we're going to kill nature.
Oh, no. Well, in mine, they basically said, like, we were driven out by some adventurers or something, and they start killing all the fairies on Water Dragon Island because if they can't have...
when I was in Water Dragon Island talking with the fairies, they were all like, we've learned from humanity that the only way that you can find home is if you take it from another culture.
Yeah, so they're doing a genocide there.
Because we did a genocide on them.
Yeah, that's the sequence, and that scene is pretty brutal. Like, you find a bunch of dead fairies, and you try to talk to them, and they don't talk back, and there are other fairies weeping over their corpses.
So, this is where I actually think the scripting for this game is trash.
Do you?
Yeah. So, again, I got Fairy McFairy Face, and so I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to bring Fairy McFairy Face and watch her witness the destruction of her homeland and massacre of her friends and family. So I brought her over thinking, oh man, this is going to add so much to the story. This is going to add a lot of depth to the characters. She says one sentence, finds the corpse of her sister, and then that's it. And you get the worst possible outcome if you bring her here and have her see her dead sister. You get the worst possible outcome, which is you don't even get to get her final maneuver, which is totally pointless, which whatever.
No. You
do.
You only get her level 7 move if her sister dies.
Yeah.
No, you have to pick up the seed, and I wasn't able to pick up the seed because I brought her.
No. It says, in my guide, it says if you want to get Rasley's level 7 tech, you have to ensure that Rosetta perishes.
Whatever. All I will tell you is that I thought that by bringing the fairy here, like, this would add a lot to the character. Like, I'm forcing a character to interact with their environment. Like, this character moment should exist, and it didn't. Which, admittedly, yes, there's 45 characters. There's only so much writing they can do. But at the same time, I feel like the scripting here, the structure of the mission here, it's so unclear, like, and it actively punishes you for doing the right thing, which is saving Rasley. So by saving Rasley, I don't know. I guess, yes, I know Jeff's going to say, well, this is part of the point of the game, is they have to go through strife. And it's like, I feel like mechanically this game is exhausting. I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like I've been saying this the entire podcast. I'm just so done with this game.
Well,
I'm really done with this game.
We're not even halfway through. Well, maybe we're halfway through. So yeah, I agree. If you're going to use your writing juice, if you're going to spend time having a character who can witness the genocide of her people at the hands of fucking the 7 dwarves, you probably want to have some sort of scripted event that would occur when you bring that character there beyond the exclamation that any of the characters you bring would have with their own little, like, slight character twist on what they say. But no, they didn't. This game is not about all the characters that you're bringing along with you outside of their little stereotypes.
Before maybe Gino or Jeff points out, well, that would have been really difficult.
No, it wouldn't have.
Fire Emblem and Genealogy of the Holy Wars did this, and that game was made in the 80s. Suikoden even
90,
had character moments built into certain locations if you brought the correct character to the environment. And those games were made like years before this game.
So another thing that came up on this Retronauts podcast about this game, which doesn't absolve 100% of the sins this game has committed and will commit, but worth noting, this was not given a budget. All hands on deck at Square at this point were, let's get Final Fantasy IX done, and then maybe start focusing on like 10 and PS2 stuff. Chrono Cross did not get that big of a budget. So in terms of what they had, like resource-wise to work on, it's clear that they put a lot of time and effort into making it look good, if not run good. And then, when you have to solve for 42 potential characters that could be in any scene at any given time, they did a lot of scripting, by which I literally mean, let's create a generic line and then put some stubs on the end of it where if Doc's there, he can go like, yeah, tubular at the end of whatever, or modify it to come out of Poshal's mouth because Poshal might be there, or the fairy might be there, or a turnip might be there. Who knows? So, yeah, they probably should have maybe done different decisions in a meta sense over like what actually went into this game, but they didn't. We got the text we get. And yeah, I think it is kind of weird that they didn't go into more bespoke writing.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that I will be let down with Glenn in the future. So there's a bunch of characters who ostensibly would care about the things that are happening in the world around them, and they just don't seem to. Like, I brought Lena to the other world to meet Lena.
Yep, same thing.
And Lena's like, hey, that girl looks a lot like me. And Serge is like, don't worry about it. Never brought up again.
Yeah, it's fobbed off in a way that's like, that's kind of cute, but also like...
Yeah, it would have been an interesting scene that they could have used to their advantage, but they don't.
Or like, I brought Lena to Lena's sister, thinking like, hey, isn't it weird that your sister's palling around with me in some way? Like, there's two of your sister? And she doesn't even acknowledge it.
Go to the shop in Termina, and that character's like, well, she's here. And it's like, they, again, just like, if it is acknowledged, it's acknowledged in like one fobbed off line, and then they just kind of go, anyway, you want to do the game.
Yep.
A missed opportunity.
Yep. There are entire movies where the plot of not meeting your otherworld double is a thing, and this game does not decide to go there.
Bill and Ted's Face the Music, available now.
Once you get the Water Dragon's Breath, you can go to Mount Pyre. That's just basically a boss rush. You fight Salt and Pepor again. You fight a fire dragon. Then you get to...
Which it's kind of crazy that they're still introducing new mechanics that have been usable for hours. Like the fact Salt and Pepor introduced this mechanic that I've already interacted with and personally have assessed as being completely worthless is just bonkers crazy town.
Yeah, they demo trapping elements, which is like, what a system. Hey, occasionally some bosses will use super moves on you, and if you have the right elements equipped at the right time, you will just absorb that skill, and that's the only way for you to get those abilities. Instead of...
Worth noting, finite amount of slots that you have to put this shit into. So
and then also, those trap spells are one-time use, so you either use them in the correct environment or boss fight, or you're just shit out of luck.
Exactly.
You might have used it for nothing.
It's completely fucking pointless.
Yeah,
it's like the dumbest part of the whole game for me so far.
It's just a guide thing. Like, if you don't have a guide, there's no way you're going to know to use the traps. There's no way that you're going to get the thing. Or you replay this game dozens and dozens of times just to get these spells that are just marginally better than the spells you already have.
Oh, it's around this time that I pieced together fucking Skelly.
Oh, you got him together?
Yes, I did.
Did you have him meet his grandma?
Yes, I did. I just want to point out, his name is actually Skelly, and that messed me up real good. I thought that was just his nickname, but no, his name is actually Skelly. So he was named Skelly, and he became a Skellington.
Yeah, he's always been Skelly. If his name was Josh, he would just be Josh. She doesn't realize
that he's a goddamn Skellington.
Yep. His story is honestly a little tragic. Like, he's a clown who went away to clown college, died, got dismembered.
Yep.
And became a zombie skeleton. Then you have to reassemble his body, and then you take him to meet his grandma, who was like, I wish my son or my grandson Skelly was around. He always used to talk to me. No one else does.
But to be perfectly honest, I feel like even if it's played off in a one self-contained scene, he is one of the few characters that joins your party that has an actual arc that you can follow, and there's a payoff.
Yes. Skelly is one of the cooler characters.
does not get a goddamn payoff.
It's a shame that Skelly
Put
sucks.
the item on the right spot, and then you got a flower baby.
It's a shame that Skelly's so bad in combat.
There's like a weird fight with Harley. Oh, right. You go to the fucking Hermit's hideout. That's right.
Yeah. Did either of you get Pip?
Who is
Pip?
Pip?
Was on the pirate ship.
On the pirate ship, the little squirrel creature.
I sure did.
I think I did. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Pip is kind of a Eevee-esque character.
Right.
Like,
This is
can
the one...
become things, right?
Yep.
This is the one where, depending on the colors that you use, it either becomes like a weird demon thing or an angel.
Or a holy beast, the true neutral.
Right. And I don't know if I have the patience to actually take the time to level them up. So.
Oh, I guarantee I'm not.
I'm using Pip. Pip is my third character. It's Glenn, Surge, and Pip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Pip's fine. It's adorable. So you go to Fort Dragonia. It's a dragon fort. There's a bunch of puzzles. There's a room kind of per element, like a light, dark.
What exactly did Radius say in the Hermit's hideout? I feel like he mused about some rumination that I'm supposed to carry out, but I just don't remember.
I don't think it mattered. He just is like, the Arcada Dragoons are not what I wanted them to be. I hid under here when my place got burned.
Right, that's the whole point, is that there's this belief that there's some sort of corruption of the Dragoons because of Link's influence over Viper. Okay, That's the reason why I wanted to bring it up. But no, yeah. I mean, you go to Fort Dragonia and...
You solve puzzles. You fight.
In theory, this is like kind of the throwback to the earliest part of the game, too.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
This is the flashback.
And I gotta say, these puzzles sucked ass. I hated them.
Oh, I don't know.
They're fine.
I thought they were terrible. I thought everything at Fort Dragonia was terrible.
Look,
it's
just because
another
it wasn't
environment.
Wizardry 3 doesn't mean everything in this game was bad.
I just felt like this is the ultimate case of it is so hard to tell what is a part of the background versus the foreground. Everything is so messy. It's all of these optical illusions. There's not enough visual tells or clues, and you just bang your head on these puzzles unless you're using a guide. And I
pretty much completely disagree. I think the worst visual cue thing for me, honestly, was getting up and down those fucking vines in that marsh. When you play that stupid little flute to get up and down them, like, that was ass. Like, figuring out where you needed to stand to do that, like, that was shitty. I'll grant you that one. No defense. This was pretty straightforward. Like, it was...
I should mention I have pretty serious myopia, so...
I mean, the most visual fuckery thing is probably that main room of just, like,
No,
overlapping.
the clearest example of visual fuckery is exactly where we stopped for this episode.
So
yeah, we'll get
the
there.
yellow dragon room fucked with me a little bit just because you need to arrange your characters in a specific order.
Right, and I didn't know that the select button was the way that you could change that shit.
I didn't know that. I forgot that the select button let you reorder your party because it doesn't do anything. Reordering your party is not a useful thing to do at any other point in the game. So I just didn't even think about it.
And trust me, I played the game of I'm going to smash my hand on the keyboard to see which button is the select button.
I did enjoy the Bunny Yip boss, which looks like a little rabbit at first, and then when you beat it up bad enough, it opens its mouth, and then the insides come out.
That was an actually good one. I like that. I like the weird gelatinous cube boss prior to that. And you know what? The weird sun mask boss. Like, Gotta say, great boss design in this game. I think that the enemy design and the design work in general with everything here, great. Awesome.
The look of this game is awesome. The playing of it,
the look of this game is great. Playing it and doing some of these bosses, not so great.
At the end of this section, you run up to General Viper. He's there with Lynx. General Viper's like, I'm going to stop you from stopping me. You fight him. You win. Once you win, he's like, well, now I'm going to take the gloves off and really fight you. And then Lynx stabs him in the back. You fight Lynx, but it is a losing battle. You can't beat Lynx. Oh, no. You can beat Lynx.
No, you beat Lynx. It's when you do the thing and you become Lynx.
Once you beat Lynx, Lynx tricks you. He beclowns you. and does a body swap with Surge. He does a Freaky Friday with Surge using the Frozen Flame, some sort of artifact that in Fort Dragonia allows you to switch bodies, Freaky Friday style. And then he controls Surge's body and gets your team to team up and beat the shit out of you.
Which it's like weirdly discordant. Like that fight plays like the random battle music in what is clearly some sort of boss fight scenario. Like there's a sense of wrongness happening as you're doing it. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I appreciated the effort they put into to make it as
I thought it was a
disorienting
great
as possible.
scene. I thought it was an excellent scene.
Yeah, we get to see punished Surge.
Yes, I thought it was a real good inversion of my expectation.
Yeah, so we get Dark Surge, and then Surge talks for the first time, which makes everyone go like, what the hell? And they figure out that Surge is not Surge very quickly. But with Surge's body, Lynx is now empowered, and he Super Saiyans, and
he stabs Kid.
He stabs Kid, and he also like banishes you to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. Do you have a choice of whether or not you can bring Kid into this place, or is Kid required? I forget.
I don't remember Sid.
I brought Kid just by default. I wonder what happens if you don't bring Kid.
I don't remember Kid joining me in the temporal vortex, but
no, I meant like, are you required to bring Kid to
Kid
Fort
might
Dragonia?
be required. I mean, it would make sense.
She is not.
No?
No, I had a party of Glenn and Pip, and after I defeated Lynx and then had the body swap moment, Kid just walked in.
Huh, that's interesting. She does say a couple of lines about Radical Dreamers, which just again highlights the fact that this game completely, not necessarily replaces, but also totally replaces, because what Lynx does to Kid in Radical Dreamers is kind of fucked up.
So yeah, he banishes you to the Shadow Realm, and it becomes an impressionist painting.
And I gotta say, this is the point where it's like, fuck this game. It's not just the visuals, it's the fact that I realized, like, I gotta reinvest in another different cadre of characters. I'm gonna have to get all this shit for these characters. I'm gonna have to recruit a different cast of characters. And I don't give a shit if it's like 1 hour or if it's like 4 hours. The fact that I gotta do this again, the fact that everything that I spent in this first act of this game is gonna be put on the kibosh, and then I need to find a way to find the emotional fortitude to reinvest in this new cadre and interact with the same mechanics and find the same kind of like trio of characters that I feel good with. I ain't having it. I'm not excited about that. I'm not looking forward to that. That's the reason why I'm so low on this game right now. It's like, fuck. Now I got to find my own version of Lena. Now I got to find my own version of Kid. Now I got to find my own version of Glenn. Now I've got to go through the whole rigmarole of figuring out which characters do what and find out what their slot system looks like and put all the good stuff in it. And now got to get all the equipment all over again. And I don't want to interact with those systems.
You're not, though.
Over the span of 2 hours, even if it's 30 minutes, I don't want to do it.
You're not going to have to do it. Remember when all the characters were like, hey, you're not Surge. Something happened here. I bet that those characters you had from before are going to rejoin you.
I get it, but even if it's like an hour where I don't have, I'm not with those characters, that's a bummer.
I mean, to me, it just sounds like you miss those characters so bad.
Yeah, because they're meaningful.
I really don't want to have to go through the same fiddly menu systems 4 or 5 times again.
Look, if you love Neofio so much, why don't you marry her?
I don't know, man. I think it's very obvious that I'm probably the lowest on this game. Like, I want to just make it clear, I like the storytelling of this game, but boy, do I consider playing this game a total bummer.
We're here. We agree with you. Playing it's a bummer.
Like, it is the most excessive, drawn-out nightmare. It is like the perfect endpoint to what Square did in this era. Like, it is every excess that they had, every like pratfall and mistake that they made, and we're probably going to make for the next several decades, frankly. starting to crystallize. It's like, what if we put way too much fucking time into like every part of this game, and then at a certain point it's like, oh right, they got to play it. Like,
and then on top of that, we haven't even talked about the fact that this is supposed to be the sequel to Chrono Trigger.
well, you know all that stuff where I've been like, they haven't even started to get into the stuff yet.
We're starting to get into the stuff.
We're starting to get into the stuff.
But even then, it's tonally and mechanically so different.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
why? Why saddle the Chrono Trigger name with this?
I don't know if I said this yet, but again, referencing this Restaurants podcast
Which I'm not going to listen to because I don't want the spoilers.
Yeah, it will just dead ass spoil this. Don't do it. I had forgotten what that podcast covered. His family name is Sato. I forget the full name, but he was the writer of Chrono Cross. And yeah, he was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not thinking of this game necessarily as a sequel to Chrono Trigger. I'm thinking of it as like a game called Chrono Cross. And
Then fine. Then don't call it Chrono Cross.
yeah, but
it's like when they made Yoshi's Island and they called it Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Like, I don't care. Maybe Yoshi's Island could have been something, but you saddled it with the name of one of the greatest games ever made.
As it turns out, I think, and this is what Jeremy Parrish asserts, he kind of completely fucking loses the plot on that at a certain point, where probably the next episode we record of this, maybe the last one, I don't know. Maybe we'll finish this game off, whatever my boss here tells me what to do. But I wish this game would reference Chrono Trigger, a game that is way better, to be clear. The fucking finger on a monkey's paw curls so fucking hard on that. If and when it does happen, it's amazing.
Yep, so we're going to keep powering through. This game becomes an impressionist painting for a while, and that's dope. And from here on out, I guess Sprig is going to be in our party, because there's a blue mage character in this game.
Right, he's a blue mage. That's the... Oh, man.
So, yeah, from here on out, we're going to see the adventures of Lynx. We'll come up with another stopping point, and we'll check back in. But Chrono Cross continues apace. Morale is low, but maybe the Frozen Flame and the secrets therein will bring us back in the future. So thank you, ZP.
Yeah, I'm always going to be here. Maybe I'll bring something that Gino approves of in terms of food next time.
Jeff, I approve of apricots and prunes. Thank you, Jeff.
Good to talk to you both. Happy to be moved. Should be smooth sailing going forward.
Thank you, listeners.
Shit's good, is what you're saying?
You can get in touch with the show at Deep Listens Pod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We've got comment sections. And deeplistenspod at gmail.com. We've got emails. Please get at deeplistenspodcast at gmail.com. You can support the show, patreon.com/deeplistens. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, peace. I hate everything. It's a terrible show.